The year is 2020. We have the 1080 Ti, we have the RTX 2080, the 2080 Ti, and what do I have in my hands here? I have a GTX 650 Ti that I used in my old build a long time ago. Question is, can you still game with the GTX 650 Ti in 2020? We're gonna take a look. The GTX 650 Ti comes with 768 CUDA cores with a base clock of 928 megahertz. It has 1 gigabyte of GDDR5 memory, and the release date for this card was March of 2013, 7 years ago. I just happened to be digging through some of my old PC parts, and I came across a bunch of my ESD bags, and inside of one, I found the GTX 650 Ti, and instantly I knew I had to test it out. So we're gonna bring it inside, benchmark it, and then we're gonna test it with the most popular modern games today. Let's check it out.
Alright, off the rip here, we're gonna go with some esports titles, I think, starting with Rocket League. I think these type of games are gonna be the ones that grant the highest frame rate and are gonna do the best. So we're hopping into Rocket League at 1080p, high settings, and it looks like we're getting around 65 to mid-low 70s, which honestly is more than enough to play this game enjoyably, and you know, you're not really at any disadvantage to someone who is playing on a higher FPS. But I'm not really too surprised with this game. It's pretty simple to run, and I figured we'd probably be at least 60 FPS. So, you know, hey, if you're looking to just play Rocket League, the 650 Ti will definitely get it done for you. So like I said, it's definitely an enjoyable experience, and you could stay competitive with anyone who has any higher FPS than you. You're at no disadvantage whatsoever. Alright, next up on the list, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. I'm running this at 1080p, pretty much the highest settings you can go. In here, the shaders were on very high. I did knock it down, I think like a level or two, but hopping in here, I think we're going to float around, you know, like the 75 to around 90 FPS, which for CSGO is pretty good. I'm used to playing at like 144 FPS or above, so I might not look that good, but for the normal person, I would say that, you know, if this is one of your games that you really wanted to play, it is definitely playable on the 650 Ti. It's running at about 55 degrees Celsius, and we're floating, yeah, between that 80 to even like, you know, low 100 FPS. And I'm pretty impressed with that, honestly. I know CSGO is not like super detailed graphics, and that's kind of the beauty of Counter-Strike, but nonetheless, I think this is a very enjoyable experience, and it can be easily played on the 650 Ti. Alright, and next up we have the Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo Reach. I think this is also going to be one of those titles that runs pretty good. And off the bat here, we're getting, yeah, roughly mid-60s to mid-70s, which, I mean, it feels really nice. I, once again, at no disadvantage compared to the other players who are probably at a much higher frame rate than me and not playing on a graphics card that was released 7 years ago. With that being said, I kind of want to even do a challenge, you know, just try to get like a 50 in the ranking system just using the 650 Ti, because I feel like it's totally possible, and I'm pretty impressed by the 650 Ti right now. It is giving us more than serviceable FPS in these type of games, which are all modern games that people are playing right now, and these are games that are in demand. So it's looking like, you know, the $25 graphics card can handle the modern games. Alright, here's the start of some games that are going to be more difficult to run, and I'm running on the lowest possible settings and even changed the render scale down to 95. There's pretty much no doubt in my mind that it is not going to be that pleasant of an experience, but maybe I'm wrong. So dropping in, looks like 45, yeah, mid-40s, ooh, we might touch 50 FPS, and let's be honest, it's not like PUBG runs that well. Anyway, there's just something about the game where it's just not the best. But, you know, 45 FPS, is it playable? Yeah, it's playable. You know, if you get in a gunfight with somebody, the chances are of you winning it, maybe not too high, but You know, if this is your type of game, it's serviceable. It's still 45 FPS, not quite 60, not quite 30. At 30, I could just imagine that it's going to be god-awful, but, you know, the high 40s to low 50s, could probably play with it. I'm going to let it play out for a little bit because you'll get a better feel of how the game plays, but overall, little shaky, that's for sure. Alright, and our next game up here is Doom. I honestly have never played Doom. I've had it for quite a while. I got it on sale for a couple dollars, but we're going to try it out here at medium settings. And I honestly have no idea what to expect here. I don't even know how to play the game, to be honest, but it looks like we're getting about 30 FPS right now. But for 30 FPS, it honestly really doesn't feel terrible. But just because it doesn't feel terrible, that doesn't mean it feels good. I would probably never play this again if I had to play this on the 650 Ti. It's playable, and I think I can get some kills, but I wouldn't really say it's enjoyable. Like close quarters combat like that, when you're low FPS, I feel like you just like flick, overcompensate left and right, and it's just not that great. But like I said, for 30 FPS, I mean, it feels like I'm getting better than that, but overall, not the worst experience I've ever had. And it goes to show that I was able to get a couple kills here, that you can make it work. We're just, you know, I feel like back in the day, 30 FPS, like playing how this feels, you know, I would have been like, man, this is great. But you know, I'm just so used to it now. But I'm gonna let this gameplay ride out, and you guys can see a little bit more how it runs in Doom. Alright, don't think I forgot about Fortnite. You can't have a benchmarking video if you don't try out Fortnite. So we're going to be running at 1080p medium settings, and from past experience, I'm going to say I'm going to get about 60 FPS. It just seems like even for a big, large, open map, it's just pretty well optimized, and you know, I just have a good feeling I'm going to get about at least 60 to 65, maybe even higher. So yeah, it looks like even about mid-70s here. So my Fortnite skills, if I had to grade them, I'd probably give myself like a D-, you know? I just never gave it the time. By the time I tried it to really sweat it, the kids are just freaking out, you know, and they got like boxed up to the sky in no time, but it's running really well. I know this is a popular thing. Look at the gray pump. It's just eating it, and then I get crushed. But Fortnite's your thing. The 650 Ti is honestly definitely able to play this at, you know, a good frame rate, and you could definitely hang with the rest of them. So we're gonna go ahead and save the absolute worst for last. I can already tell from past experience that Call of Duty Modern Warfare is gonna run like an absolute turd. We are at the lowest settings that we can physically be at, and the quality of the game even looks terrible. But, you know, we're getting, you know, 30, 35-ish to low 40 FPS. Most likely going to stick around the 30s. But if this is your game and you really want to play it on a budget, it's possible. It's possible. I can get kills. Is it very enjoyable? No. I think this card is, you know, just a little bit, a step too low to consistently play this, especially because I'm playing shipment 24/7. This is a small map, so if I had to play a big map and load all that up, I'm guessing like 10 FPS. So kind of what I expected, and I would say you're definitely at a disadvantage. So 650 Ti, not cutting it for Call of Duty. So all in all, after running through all our tests here, I am going to give it like a grade of like a B, honestly. I mean, most of the games were playable. Most of the games, you know, we're floating around 60 FPS or higher, except for, you know, PUBG and this. So can you game on a 650 Ti in 2020? Absolutely. You know, you can get them for around like, I don't know, $20 to $30. So if you're really strapped, I think the 650 Ti would be the lowest I would go to put in your system for modern gaming. But we'll have to start somewhere. Some of us are really on a budget, so it is an option. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up.